The town of Willow Creek was small. It was quiet. Life there moved at the pace of a grandfather clock. The air was filled with the gentle sounds of nature. Birds chirped, leaves rustled, and from every shop and every home, clocks ticked. Each tick was a reminder of time's steady march. In the heart of Willow Creek lived Alaric, the clockmaker. His shop was a place of wonder. It was filled with clocks of all shapes and sizes. Some were small and delicate, while others were tall and imposing. Each clock had its own unique sound, its own rhythm.
Alaric was a kind and gentle man. His eyes sparkled with wisdom. People said he could fix any clock. They also said he put a little bit of magic into every repair. Alaric's hands were rough but steady. He treated each clock with care. He understood that each one held stories and secrets.
For Alaric, clockmaking wasn't just a job. It was a passion. He believed that clocks were more than just machines. They were keepers of time, each tick a precious moment to be cherished. Among all the clocks in Alaric's shop, one stood out. It was a magnificent grandfather clock, taller than any man. Its wood was dark and polished. Intricate carvings danced across its surface. This was the Timekeeper.
The Timekeeper was shrouded in mystery. People whispered about it in hushed tones. Some said it could control time itself. Others said it was cursed.
Alaric never confirmed nor denied these rumors. He kept the Timekeeper hidden under a velvet cloth. It stood in the darkest corner of his shop. He was still working on it, he would say. It wasn't ready yet.
Years turned into decades. Alaric grew older, his hair turning silver. Still, the Timekeeper remained unfinished. It became a local legend, a symbol of the unknown. And the longer it remained hidden, the stronger the whispers about its power grew.
One sunny afternoon, a young boy named Leo wandered into Alaric's shop. Leo was a curious boy, always eager to explore. He was drawn to the shop by the ticking and chiming of the clocks. Leo had heard the stories about the Timekeeper. He was fascinated by the idea of a clock that could control time. He dreamed of traveling to the past, of seeing dinosaurs with his own eyes.
Alaric greeted Leo with a warm smile. He showed the boy around his shop, explaining the workings of each clock, but Leo was impatient. He kept glancing towards the corner where the Timekeeper stood hidden.
"And what about that one?" Leo asked, pointing to the shrouded clock.
Alaric hesitated, a flicker of sadness in his eyes. "Ah, that one is not ready yet," he said softly.
Days turned into weeks, but Leo couldn't forget about the Timekeeper. He would often stand outside Alaric's shop, staring at the mysterious clock through the window. The desire to see it up close, to touch it, consumed him.
One evening, Leo noticed that Alaric had left his shop window slightly ajar. The setting sun cast long shadows across the room. He saw a small silver key dangling from a hook near the counter. It was a risky move, but curiosity outweighed Leo's better judgment. He slipped through the gap in the window, careful not to knock anything over. His heart pounded in his chest. He tiptoed towards the key and snatched it.
With the key in hand, Leo approached the Timekeeper. He could feel a strange energy emanating from behind the velvet cloth. He took a deep breath and reached for the cloth, his fingers trembling. This was it. He was about to uncover the secrets of the Timekeeper. Section 5, Echoes of the Past.
As Leo pulled away the velvet cloth, a musty smell filled the air. The Timekeeper gleamed in the fading light, its intricate carvings more impressive up close. He spotted a small, key-shaped hole he hadn't noticed before. He inserted the key and turned it.
The clock's hands began to spin wildly. The air crackled with energy. Leo stumbled back, fear gripping his heart. The room around him seemed to distort, the familiar sense of wood and polish replaced by something older, something ancient. The ticking of the clocks in the shop grew louder, morphing into a deafening roar. Leo felt a strange pull, a force beyond his control. He closed his eyes, bracing himself for the unknown. When he opened them again, he was no longer in Alaric's shop. He was standing on a cobblestone street. The air was filled with the sounds of horses' hooves and the chatter of people. The buildings were different, older. Leo realized with a jolt that he had traveled back in time. Section 6, A Glimpse of Young Alaric.
Leo wandered through the bustling streets. his head spinning with a mixture of awe and fear. He saw horse-drawn carriages instead of cars, gas lamps instead of electric lights. Everything was different, yet strangely familiar. He found himself drawn towards a familiar-looking shop. It was smaller, less grand than Alaric's shop in the present, but Leo recognized the sign, Alaric's Clocks.
He peeked through the window and saw a young man hunched over a workbench. The man had the same kind eyes and gentle smile as the Alaric Leo knew, but his hair was dark, untouched by time. Leo watched as young Alaric worked tirelessly, his brow furrowed in concentration. He saw the passion in the young clockmaker's eyes, the same passion that still burned brightly in present-day Alaric. Section 7. The Weight of Time.
As Leo observed young Alaric, he felt a pang of sadness. He realized that time was a precious gift, one that shouldn't be taken for granted. He thought about all the moments he had wasted, all the opportunities he had let slip away. He saw how much Alaric had aged, how the years had etched lines on his face and stooped his shoulders. But he also saw the wisdom in Alaric's eyes, the wisdom that came with a life well lived. Leo knew he couldn't stay in the past forever. He had to return to the present to face the consequences of his actions, but he vowed to carry the lessons he had learned with him.
He had glimpsed the past, felt the weight of time on his shoulders, and he knew that the present was a gift, a fleeting moment that deserved his full attention. With a heavy heart, Leo made his way back to the clock shop. He found the timekeeper still humming with energy, its hands spinning relentlessly. He inserted the key and turned it, his hand shaking. The world around him dissolved once more into a dizzying blur. The sounds of the past faded, replaced by the familiar ticking of clocks. When the dizziness subsided, Leo found himself back in Alaric's shop. The timekeeper stood silent, its hands frozen in place. The velvet cloth lay crumpled on the floor. Leo quickly draped it back over the clock, his heart still pounding in his chest. He looked around the shop, everything exactly as he had left it. Had it all been a dream, a figment of his imagination? He glanced at his hand, still clutching the silver key, and knew that his journey through time had been all too real. Leo stood frozen, unsure what to do next. He had never felt so guilty in his life. He had betrayed Alaric's trust, sneaked into his shop, and tampered with something he didn't understand. Just then, he heard the familiar chime of the shop bell. Alaric entered, a small package tucked under his arm. He stopped short, his eyes widening as he took in the scene, the displaced velvet cloth, Leo standing awkwardly by the timekeeper, and the silver key glinting in his hand. A wave of fear washed over Leo. He expected anger, disappointment, perhaps even a touch of betrayal. But Alaric surprised him. He simply sighed, a tired smile spreading across his face.
So, it seems you've met the timekeeper.
Leo stammered, unsure how to respond. He confessed everything. His fascination with the timekeeper, his curiosity getting the better of him, his journey to the past. Throughout his rambling confession, Alaric listened patiently, his gaze never leaving Leo's. When Leo finished, Alaric gently took the key from him. He walked over to the timekeeper and draped the velvet cloth back over it, hiding its magic once more.
The timekeeper is a powerful instrument, but it is not a toy. It is a reminder that time is precious, that every tick of the clock is a gift.
He placed a reassuring hand on Leo's shoulder.
The past shapes us, but it does not define us. It is in the present that we find joy, purpose, and the opportunity to create a better future.
From that day forward, Leo carried Alaric's words with him. He looked at the world with new eyes, appreciating the beauty of each passing moment. He no longer yearned for the past or worried about the future. He lived in the now, embracing every second. He continued to visit Alaric, learning the intricate art of clockmaking. He discovered that there was magic in the delicate dance of gears and springs, in the steady rhythm of a pendulum. And though he never again traveled through time, the memory of his journey stayed with him. It served as a constant reminder to cherish the present, to learn from the past, and to embrace the endless possibilities of the future. The timekeeper remained a silent sentinel in the corner of Alaric's shop, its secret safe with the old clockmaker and the boy who had dared to touch time. It was a symbol of the intricate tapestry of moments that made up a life, a reminder that every tick of the clock was a story waiting to be told.